What is going on? We're live here in the shop. I was having some trouble with the internet connection earlier. Hopefully, it is solved. I'm really not sure. Anyway, looks like we're good. Today, we are hanging out in the lawnmower shed working on some blades. I am currently working on 3 of these Farrier rasp blades. I've got several more down there, and I've also got some different style blades I'm working on, trying to make those out of metal files. I somewhat try to keep a good stash of these on our Etsy store, and this happened to be one of the very last ones that I had available. So this is one that I make out of a Farrier's rasp. I'll pull it out here so you can see it. So just kind of like a camping sort of knife. And anyway, that is the goal for the day, is just to run through some profiling and trying to knock out some more of these things. What's up, Duck? How are you, man? Figured I would just throw this dude on and kind of get to work. I got quite a few different blades I'm working on. I actually just sold the very last one that I had for sale on our Etsy page, and needed to make some more. I'm at the park for my brother's birthday. Right on, man. Well, happy birthday to your brother. The brother from the same mother, or maybe a different mother. We don't know, but he's still your brother. And that's fine, yeah. Definitely spend some time with your brother, man. That's cool. Yeah, we're just hanging out in the shop. I'm going to be probably just letting this camera roll, and we're going to be working on profiling some more of these blades out. I really want to try to make, 3 or 4 more maybe, to be able to put them onto the Etsy store. Because the last couple that I've made like this have done really, really well. They haven't, been on there too long. These make excellent little camping knives for people. And you can, take them out hiking, camping, doing whatever. They're big enough to split logs. They're small enough to kind of still carry without looking like a, crazy person out in the woods. As long as you got a sheath, I suppose. So anyway, heck, go all in, do 5. Yeah, I just might, man. I actually have about 6 already cut out. So I'm going to be doing 3 more of these out of Farrier's rasps, and those look really good. So I've got those 2. I've got number 3 here chilling. We still need to do some profiling. And then I've got 3 different little files that we're probably going to try to turn into some sort of blade. Probably do just a little, kind of basic sort of knife out of this one. This one's really cool. It's a really super small and skinny file. I was thinking about making a little dagger out of that. That'd be kind of cool. And then maybe some sort of like a bowl cutter or something out of this. This is a pretty thick and wide file, which is cool. And anyway, just some different variety of types of files, and I'll probably just see what they end up being. I always keep my eye out for these sorts of things. Whether you're going to a garage sale or a flea market, here's one perfect example. You can find a pretty decent file. This one I paid $1 for, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, so anyway, how much can I order one, please? Do you make any hatchets or small knives I can use for wood carving, etc.? Yeah, I do, actually, and I was just telling the other people, we've got my wife and I have an Etsy store, and it is currently out of stock of most of these knives, but that's what we're doing today. We're making more to replenish the store. I don't really do a whole lot of hatchets or axes, but I do make knives. I make large knives like these, and then smaller, pocket knife type thing. Let's see. And if you are interested in checking out the Etsy store, the best thing that I can tell you to do is Google search Marty and Seta at Etsy shop, or just type in Marty and Seta knife Etsy store, maybe. I don't know. It's really hard to find the store because we're really small. But if you can Google search that, then chances are good you'll find our store. I think I have one knife on there at the moment. It is the really big dagger up here, and it has been on there quite some time, and nobody has bought it. So if you're interested in buying a big old honking dagger, it is available. And this is made out of just a large, very large metal file. And it's pretty cool. It's kind of got like the medieval feel to it. It's got the forged S-guard, and it's got a countersink bit for the pommel. And it's just kind of an interesting, one-of-a-kind type knife. That's what I like to do. Most of the blades that I make are kind of one-offs. Like, I don't make a whole lot of the same type of blade. I really like to just do something different each time. And to me, it just kind of keeps it interesting, and, you know, keeps it fresh for me. So anyway, without further ado, I'm just going to guess we're going to be grinding some. Let's see here. How can I do this? I'll press camera around, and then that way I can make sure that you guys are seeing the actual work instead of trying to guess at what you're seeing, because sometimes that ain't good. You know, I think things are good, and we're making good quality, entertaining video, and then I have it pointed at my feet or something. So anyway, yeah, I today am rocking the contact wheel on a house-made 2x72. This is the new belt grinder that I have for the shop, and this thing is awesome. It absolutely chews through this metal, and I've got a little bit more to do on these guys. So I'm going to finish profiling this one out, and then we'll probably end up switching to a small wheel attachment and getting into some of these tighter areas. That's what that's really good for, getting in these little curves around the handle and stuff like that. So yeah, sit back, relax, enjoy. Hope you guys are having a great Memorial Day weekend. It's really disgusting out here. I live in Missouri. It's been raining nonstop for the past 3 days, which sucks. Anyway, yeah. I'm going to watch your show today and become a new subscriber. God bless. Hey, man, thanks, dude. I appreciate that. Anybody else in here who is not subscribed and wants to subscribe, do it. I would absolutely be super grateful. That is super cool, man. Thank you. Let's get at this. Guess that's a pretty good picture. Just kind of to see what I'm doing anyway. And I've got a little bit, it's a good idea. Keep cool as you're grinding them. Click this off for a second. So I've got, like I said earlier, this is a 10-inch contact wheel, and this is really good for things like this little section right here. Let me grab that knife again. So you can see on this particular profile, we have a recurve blade, which just means that it's kind of curved down and then coming back up towards the top. And using something like this is really good for that sort of thing. Thanks for hanging out, Duck. Appreciate it, man. Happy birthday to your brother, and we'll catch you soon, buddy. But anyway, yeah, so the contact wheel is super great for this sort of application where you're trying to get a really subtle curve over a long distance, and this is where it's at for that. So anyway, also it seems like you found a Wi-Fi dead spot. We're running 3 FPS and maybe 5 pixels. Nice. All right, we'll switch it over here then. Yeah, I tried getting on live earlier, and it didn't even let me come on. It just instantly kicked me off and then took forever to try to reconnect. So I don't know what's going on. Thanks for letting me know, though. Appreciate that. Because, yeah, it's not going to be very good if no one can see or hear me. Yeah. Let's see here. Maybe if we keep the phone over here a little bit, it might be a little better. Or, you know what I could do is potentially go into... Okay, so now we're running on the cell towers. Hopefully that will help instead of my crappy Wi-Fi connection. I'm hoping that will be better. Let me know if you guys can hear and see me all right, and then that way I'll know that the internet connection is better. Heck yeah, thanks man, appreciate that. Yeah, so there we go. Just with a little bit of time, you can see we're starting to get this little bit of a recurve into the bottom of this. And yeah, it works out pretty good, especially for some sort of like a kind of a chopping knife or a campsite fire sort of knife. Works out really good because you kind of can still have a little bit of a belly down here. And then you got this little recurve section so you can cut wood, you can whittle, you can do all kinds of bushcraft stuff with it. Anyway, just kind of a cool, simple to make profile that does a lot of stuff for, you know, everyday camping type tasks. Yeah, that one looks pretty good. We're going to go a little bit more and then we'll probably be ready to jump to the small wheel attachment for some of this area up here. Yeah, there we go. That's looking pretty good. Yeah, you guys, if you're still in here, let me know you can hear me and see me okay. just hit me up in the comments and let me know. I'm going to switch this over and we'll get the small wheel attachment going so we can start hogging out some of that material. Let's see. So, I wonder what's going on with that. So I'm seeing a message from you, John, but it's not popping up in the live chat. Yeah, I wonder what that's about. You know, this is kind of new for me. I don't do a whole lot of live streaming, so I'm still trying to figure it out somewhat. I can see your message via like the YouTube notification, but I don't see it in the live chat, which is weird. Let's see. What am I doing? That is not what I wanted to do. Yeah. So I'm just not seeing anybody's messages in the live chat. That's all right, I guess. As long as you can still hear me and see me, I suppose that'll work. Let's go with the small wheel attachment. I just got this machine. This is the house-made Generation 5 Revolution grinder. I'm going to drop it down here. And for those of you that are watching that are into knife making or metal working and know about belt grinders, you may know some about this one. This is a new machine for me, but it is absolutely awesome. I just think that this machine is super nice. It is way better than my old one, which is this Grizzly 2x42 over here. I've been using this for a year or so, and it still works, but this one is just, you know, light years better than the Grizzly. And it makes changing out the attachments super easy. What's going on, Maxzilla? How are you? Thanks for saying hey. I guess I can finally see somebody in the chat. Maybe nobody was saying something. Who knows? Hopefully you guys can see me and hear me okay. Been having some problems with the internet today. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thanks for coming and spending your time with me. We're out here in my lawnmower shed working on making some blades. If you're new to the stream, this is what we're doing. We're taking farriers, rasps, and we're turning them into just camping knives. I do this for fun. You know, knife making kind of started out as a hobby, and it still is for the most part. But once you've been doing this for a year or two, you start to accumulate a bunch of these. And I am at the point where I just have too many. Too many to hold on to. I don't have enough room to keep them all. So now what I'm doing is I'm starting to sell them. And that seems to be going pretty good. I don't sell a ton, but there are people out there that do like to buy them. So it works out for me. It gives me some more room in the shop. And yeah, it allows me to continue to make more without taking up too much real estate in here. I'm working out of an 8x10 lawnmower shed, so it gets pretty cramped up in here. And if anybody's ever been inside of an 8x10 lawnmower shed, you know what I'm talking about. It is tight. And I'm really surprised I got this machine even in here without taking up too much room. Let's see what this thing does here. There we go. Takes a little bit to get it kind of fine-tuned. You can see here, you just got there's a couple of adjustment knobs up here. You've got like a coarse adjustment and then a fine adjustment on this knob. But you're really just trying to get it to where this belt is running in between the wheel there. And for the most part, that looks pretty good, I think. So, there we go. I work in a lawnmower shop to make blades. Heck yeah, let's go. You know exactly what I'm talking about then. It is absolutely cramped up in this mug. I might put a little bit more pressure on this arm. Pull it out just a wee bit more. That way we don't have it so floppy. Let's try that. There we go. All right. Now that we've got that adjusted, we can continue with our blades. I'm going to see if I can flip you guys around here, get you a little bit better angle to see what we're doing. Hopefully I can get you guys up here to see what we're doing without getting in the way. That should hopefully work. Yeah, I think we'll be good there. Should be able to see all right. Let me move this hollow wheel down here. So what type of knives do you make, Maxzilla? You make like full tangs or pocket knives or what? Yeah, so there we go. Starting to get up into those corners there. Yeah, pocket knives are an entire different beast of its own. I don't have the patience for all the little itty bitty tiny precise things you got to do to make pocket knives. I made a couple of friction folders, and that was enough for me to say no thank you. Eventually I think it would be cool to make a few more just for fun, but hats off to the fellas that make pocket knives, because it's just really tedious, and you don't have to have really good equipment, but it would be super helpful to have things like a mill, a lathe, or whatever else that you may need. I really don't. I just kind of have like the basic setup. I got a drill press, a belt grinder, a bandsaw, and that's really about it. So most of the little precision work that's needed for pocket knives, a mill honestly would probably be the best tool to invest in. It can be done with files and things, and that's what I did for my friction folders, but it just was more of a headache than it was fun, and that's why I like sticking with full tang, bigger knives. All right, so I'm thinking the back of this needs some more work. Let's get at it. there you go. It's starting to kind of get shaped out a little better. It's not going to have this big of a hump here, so we're still going to have to knock a bunch of this back, but you know, we're still gonna keep going at it for a while here. Yeah, a lot of times what I do too while I'm doing this is if I'm in the process of doing something like this and I'm starting to shape out a lot of these areas, and then I get a large chunk that I still need to remove, instead of throwing it up here on the belt and killing the abrasives, I'll typically go throw it in a vise and just either cut it with an angle grinder or use a flap disc of some sort just to remove that, because it's really just as fast. And the flap disc wheels are like $2 a piece, whereas this is like $8 to $10 a piece. So I don't know. I feel like it's worth it, and you know, I'm sure lots of people do it that way, but the 2x72 belts are new for me, and I didn't quite realize just how expensive they were. Yeah. What's up, Randy? How are you, man? I'm glad you're in here. How to do, Frenchie, and all the other hammerheads like me. Yeah, if you guys don't know Newt, definitely go show him some love, too. He's got a cool channel. He does metalworking and leather crafts and stuff. We just got done doing a trade. I made him a knife, and he made me a hammer. And that was an excellent trade. He made a incredible hammer. I have it around here somewhere. I just don't know where I put it. But if you give me a second, I'll find it because I want to show you guys. He did an absolutely phenomenal job on this hammer. It is a double diagonal cross-peen hammer. And I think it's right outside. I'm going to go grab it and I'll be right back. Yeah, so here it is here. This is the hammer that he made me, and I made him a kumai blade. But seriously, look at that. That is just absolutely killer. Did an excellent job putting the handle on this thing. There is like no gaps up here whatsoever. And just the functionality of this is just insane. I just got done making a kukri on my last or latest video. Let me grab it. It's over here. So It started as one of these farrier's rasps here. That's what it started as. And this hammer is really cool because as you're holding it, you have this side here that can draw it out lengthwise on the anvil. And then just by flipping it around, you can see it now is drawing out the width. So it's that's what makes these hammers really cool. And I didn't even know about them, to be honest. I mean, I heard about them, but I didn't really understand why until he made this for me and sent it to me. And it's obviously it makes sense to me now, but it didn't. And I'm like, well, why do you have both of these? And I can tell you, not having one of these and now having one makes a huge difference. So I started this kukri out with just a simple farrier's rasp and ended up making this. I drew out the material lengthwise and drew out some width with that hammer. And you can see it's, definitely longer than it was. It was probably down to here because I cut the tang off. So it was able to draw a bunch of the length out and get it wider. And I pretty much forged, for the most part, forged a bunch of it with that hammer. So definitely a really cool blade. And it's got an awesome handle on it. This is some oak that I recently stabilized. It's just really interesting, and it's got some pretty grain to it and a little bit of red dye that I put in the cactus juice. And to me, it's just cool. This is something that I found. This wood is something that I found for free in a pile of scrap oak up in Springfield, Missouri, and took it home, stabilized it. This rasp is something that was given to me for free. So, I transformed these two things into something else, and it's a killer blade. How much do your knives cost? Question mark. So it just depends on what kind of knife. So something like this, gosh, I don't know. I just, to give you an idea, this one right here, where did it go? So this one I posted on Etsy for 215 bucks. And then I also gave the option for the leather sheath that goes with it for 35. So for, you kind of get the option of just buying the knife. Maybe you like doing your own leather sheaths, or maybe you don't and want this sheath with it. So that can kind of give you an idea. I think my revenue was 240 bucks for this. And, I do have some cost in this. This particular rasp I did buy. This piece of handle material was 20 bucks on, I think I got this on Amazon. This is desert ironwood, and these scales were like 20 bucks. So I have probably 40 bucks in material in this thing, so probably 200 bucks in profit, I guess, which, is decent, but it took me a really long time to make this. I don't do it full time. I just do it when I have the extra time. So something like this probably takes me a week when I'm just doing like an hour here and there. But that's kind of hopefully at least give you some idea. A couple $100 for this, probably 200 bucks for something like this. Some of the smaller blades that I do, like the file knives, maybe 150, 175, somewhere around there. Are they worth that? I don't know. I mean, I feel like they are, in a sense that they're handmade and they're custom. That they're unique. You're not going to find another knife like it. I feel like that is what's cool about them. Are they the most highest quality blades you'll ever find? No, definitely not. I mean, I'm an okay knife maker. I'll never say that I'm the best. But I feel like it's a fair price, especially for, today's market in the custom knife game. Blades are just expensive. They really are. And especially, I feel like the more well-known a person is, and if you buy a knife from them, it's going to cost even more just because they're more well-known. And I'm a nobody, so, I feel like $100 to a couple $100 depending on the knife, is typically pretty fair. For the most part, anyway. So, okay, let's get back to this. We've got this large chunk here, like I was saying earlier. Probably just hit this up on the angle grinder to remove a good bit of this pretty quickly. And that way we can save the abrasives on the belt some. Because these flap disc wheels are awesome. They last forever and they're really cheap. And really, they're about the same as a, you know, belt anyway. So I just like using them when I can. Yeah, you can see it eats through it really quickly too. I mean, it doesn't take long for this metal to disappear. Yeah, and just even a few seconds there with the angle grinder, we've removed enough of it to where I feel comfortable going back over to the belt grinder and just kind of fine tuning it, so to speak. So yeah, probably still got quite a bit to remove, but I do like adding this little hump in the hand. Just helps kind of, you know, keep it in the hand this way, gives you a little bit extra to grip onto. So I try to incorporate that in the knives that I do. I didn't always. So same thing with this one. And this one's, you know, a little less subtle, but it gives you a little bit of width here. And then also here, just kind of having it swollen up a little bit. You also need to take into account your current skill level. Myself, for example, I'm close to taking my journeyman test for the American Bladesmith Society, so my blades at that size would cost more. Right, exactly. And I've been doing it for a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and that is definitely a valid point. I think the more experience a guy has making knives, the more they should cost. And you know, I feel like that's why I shouldn't be asking $300, $400, $500, especially not for file knives and rasp knives. Now, if I was going to do something else like some hand forged Damascus, then I would definitely want to add more money to that just because of the time that it takes, but still would not put it at a ridiculous amount, just because, you know, I don't have a ton of experience with that sort of thing. So anyway, we're back to being able to throw this on the belt grinder, so that's what we gonna do. If you're in here, why don't you subscribe, say hey, like the video, help me out, and help to push the content that I'm doing forward. Feel like I've been kind of at a standstill lately, which is fine, I guess. You know, my channel is more so kind of aimed at people that make knives and are interested in knife making. A lot of my videos are kind of long form content that nobody really likes to watch unless they're into making knives. Hard time trying to grow the channel, if that makes sense. But, you know, I guess it's not all about that. But if you're in here and you're not subscribed, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. You know, go check out some of the other videos. Even if you're not into making knives, if you like knives, I've got quite a few videos of different styles of knives, and I try to do a mix of entertainment and education. That way it's not all just glamour shots, but I'm trying to teach some as well. Anyway, yeah, that's what it's about. I just missed a call from Ted. Don't was trying to text, he said. No worries, man, no worries. Um, yeah. So anyway, I'm going to go at this a little bit longer. Where are we at here? We are at 40 minutes. We got 7 people in here, which is cool. So say hey if you're in here. Let us know what you're up to, what you like to do for fun, and let us know how your Memorial Day weekend is going. Mine is going pretty stinking wet. You can see out here it's been raining pretty much nonstop the last 3 days, and it's pretty miserable outside. I can't really remember a Memorial Day that was more cold or more wet than this. It's really been kind of a bummer. So that's why we're in the lawnmower shed goofing off. I'm going to get back at this for a minute. Yeah, so something like that is getting pretty close. You know, it'll probably be a little bit more refinement as we continue profiling this particular one out, but you can kind of see that that little swell area fits up the hand pretty well. So it's a decent place to stop for now. Probably go ahead and jump to another one. You can see this one here is definitely fatter, so we'll have a bit more to remove on this one. But anyway, let's go ahead and do that. I'm also got a few of these other knives. So instead of the Farrier's rasp ones, you know, it's like trying to do some file knives and some different styles. So this one is one that can just kind of fit in the hand a little bit and kind of a long sort of, I don't know what you call that profile, but it's kind of like a long EDC, I guess. So we got that one to do. Then I found this cool little tiny file. This thing is super skinny. It's got to be less than an 1/8 inch. Very small, but I'm going to try to make a little dagger out of this, which will be cool. And then we've got a big, juicy, beefy file. This thing is super thick, and I'm going to try to make some sort of like a bowl cutter type design out of this thing. And I'm sure those sell well in places like Texas or any place that has a ranch and people who ride bulls. I know here in Missouri there are some people that carry these as everyday carries, especially at work. I've seen a few guys with these, so they may be kind of an emerging trend. Maybe they're coming back. I don't know. But the bowl cutter knife is kind of this profile where it's just a rectangle, and then it's sharpened all the way down to the edge, and the bevels, maybe they go all the way up. I'm probably going to stop mine short to have a little bit of the file texture, but anyway, they make really cool knives. They're super simple, and from my understanding, they're meant to cut rope in a moment's notice for, rodeo riders, I guess. That's why they don't have a tip, and I'm pretty sure that's to make sure they don't stab themselves or the bull, but it's mainly meant to cut rope off somebody's hand if they're stuck, or if a rope gets wrapped around somebody's leg as they're riding, they have a safe way to cut the rope without hurting either the user or the bull. So anyway, that's something that might be kind of cool. I haven't made one before, and should be an interesting profile. All right, so we'll jump back on this fatter farrier's rasp here and continue kind of thinning this handle down some. Pink sawdust everywhere, messiest handle I've ever done. Nice. I'm not sure if Ted's in here watching or not, but yeah, he's working on a kitchen knife, I believe, and he's a guy that I met through YouTube who also makes knives, and you know, it's cool to be able to meet people on here and have the same type of people that are interested in the same type of thing as you. You know, people that make, whether they make YouTube videos or not, I have found and met a lot of people that are into knife making, that a lot of them kind of end up becoming my friends, you know, as much as a friend as you can be living in a different state anyway. But it's kind of cool. Definitely a good community of people that enjoy making knives, and most of them are super helpful and try to, you know, help each other out with the journey. There we go. You can really see it smoothed out pretty good back here. That one's getting pretty close. This one's definitely still a little bigger than the last one, but, you know, relatively small hands. And for someone with a little bit bigger hands, this would probably be perfect. So I try to do, you know, roughly the same shape and idea, but a little bit different on each one, you know, especially because they're all done by hand. Each one's going to be a tiny bit different. Hey, what's up, Michael? How are you, man? Thanks for coming on and saying hey. So yeah, you can see they're relatively close, but each one's gonna be slightly different. This one would be more suited for someone with hands like me, and this one might be a little bit bigger. But they're getting there, just kind of slowly working at them. That's what we're up to today. Just profiling out some different blades out of these Farrier's rasps. I just just sold my very last one that I had on Etsy. This is kind of like the camping knife that I do. It's a drop point recurve, really good for cutting wood, for cutting up kindling for the fire, carving stuff, going out doing bushcraft sort of thing. So that's what we're doing. We're making these, making a few more of these anyway today. And yeah, that way I can throw them back on the store and have some inventory for more people that are interested in buying some. You should put a hollow grind in one of them. I like that idea, and I most likely will. The first two that I did, I don't have hollow grinds in those, but I have done a few hollow grinds. Here's one that this is my very first attempt at a hollow grind. And this was more so me trying to figure out what the hollow grind was. It's kind of hard to probably pick this up, but you can see it's not perfect, but it definitely has the hollow grind shape. But since this one, I've made I think two more blades that have the hollow grind, and I actually like it. I think it's pretty easy to put them in. It's much easier than I thought it would be, because once you get that initial plunge line and first few passes on the contact wheel, once you go back for all the follow-up passes, it really just wants to sit on the contact wheel pretty easily. Like, you don't really have to find your fine tune angle, if that makes sense, because it's grinding out, of the negative of the contact wheel. It just goes back in the same position super easy. So they're really pretty easy to do, and they're super effective for slicing things. They make the edge of the blade really kind of keen and slicey, and they're not perfect for every type of knife, but they are really cool to do and a lot of fun. So I might do that on this one. Do a nice hollow grind all the way up this little file knife that we're working on. And I also thought about doing it on the little mini dagger. That would be a bit of a challenge just because this thing is so dang small. It'd be kind of interesting to see if I could even pull that off. Probably not, but it'd be fun to try anyway. Yeah, getting them started is the hardest part, right? You definitely got to get that initial bevel put in. But once you do, I feel like it is pretty easy to have the blade kind of find its home again on the wheel once you get those first few initial ones set. All right, so I'm calling these two good for the moment anyway. I like where those are at right now. And let's see, we've got one more to do, so these two are good. This one definitely needs to be refined more, so probably I might save that one since we've been doing nothing but these. Probably work maybe on this one just because I think it could be an interesting one. This is something that I probably will also do a hollow grind on. I have an example of a hollow grind right here, and you can see that, especially from this view, if it would focus right, you can kind of see the triangle, sort of. So you've got the beefy part up here on the spine, and it just almost triangles down to nothing. And this particular edge is really sharp. And that's kind of the advantage of the hollow grind, is that it just makes a super thin, slicey type of a knife. This is one that I found at a flea market, and it was really quite inexpensive. So I picked it up just as a way to, look at someone else's work and kind of learn from it, but also just to collect knives. This was back when I was first getting into knives and trying to find different examples of knives, kind of a straight razor sort of deal. But anyway, yeah, the hollow grind is super cool. I'm probably going to roll on this one for a bit. And we've got the small wheel already hooked up, so we'll go in and we'll clean all this, all the angle grinder cuts out of here and get this smoothed up. Yeah, this grinder definitely makes short work of this metal. Pretty cool. Yeah, that took maybe, 4 minutes or so to get this whole section here. And definitely not used to being so quick. I'm used to rocking this thing over here. And this does not go fast. I mean, it works, but man almighty, this thing, it's a love hate relationship with this darn thing. It still works, but the motor overheats on it, and you can't really use it for more than 10 to 15 minutes, and then it will literally start smoking if you push it too far. I got it smoking like twice and decided I better not make it a third time or it might just break. So anyway, it's really nice having this new machine. And yeah, I highly recommend going to check out Housemade. If you guys don't have a grinder, if you're in the market for one, go check out Housemade. They've got the hookup on it for sure. Can you put a fan on it? Yeah, so I actually did there for a while last summer. I had a box fan that I was pretty much blowing on it, and it does have a fan built in on it. Let's see if I can move this real quick. And the fan does spin. However, the fan back here, it's right behind this little dust cover. And I would periodically even take that thing off to double check that it was working. But it's attached to the motor wheel, so if the motor's running, the fan is spinning. But I would just take it off to make sure it wasn't clogged or something. And I do think that this does cool it a little bit, but just not nearly enough. It's just a really poor design. And I really think the issue is this. It's a kind of a cheaper VFD that's trying to run a half horse, or maybe it's 3/4 horse. I can't remember. But it's a little tiny motor that this little crappy VFD is trying to run. And they did their best to kind of encase this thing, but now that I have built the Revolution and we get to see what a good VFD looks like, you know, these come with dust glands where you can cinch them down tight, and you pretty much make the inside of this waterproof, which then also means that it's dust proof. And that way, all this crap doesn't get in it, because if this were to get in it, it would definitely fry this. So it's important that these VFDs are encased. And you can see up in here, not such a great job, right? There's little holes and gaps all up in here. And I have yet to take this thing off. But I can imagine there's a good bit of dust in it. And that might be the reason. I mean, I don't really know. I'm not an electrician, and I don't know much about these sorts of things. I know enough to kind of tinker with them and whatnot, but yeah, that may be part of the reason why that thing is not so great. Anyway, yeah, having this machine is just awesome. So if you guys are in the market for a belt grinder or any knife making gear, Housemade is the channel sponsor, and that is why I'm telling you to go check them out, because they are sponsoring the channel. However, if they weren't sponsoring the channel, I would still be singing the praises of this machine, because it really deserves it. It's just a well-built deal, and it's well-built because I built it. And that's what makes it really cool. They send you all the parts, and you fabricate it, and you make it yourself. And now that I know exactly how it works. And that way, if something breaks on it, you know, I know how to fix it. Or if I want to modify something, I know how to do that. Just because I have the experience of building it and learning what all the different parts are and stuff. One kind of a silly modification, but one that I've done recently is for sharpening. And you can tell on their website they do sell a sharpening system, but it's kind of expensive, and I pretty much have the exact same thing that does here with just scrap material. I've had a little scrap handle deal, one that you can pull out and move, and you can pretty much undo this and then get different angles on this bar. And this bar is, when the flat platen's on, it's up here, and then that's used to draw your knife back and forth to sharpen it. And it works really, really well. And I don't have any money in this stuff. It was just kind of scrap laying around, and threw it together. So it's nice to be able to do that sort of thing, though, with a machine like this, to build your own attachment or create, you know, something that you may need that it doesn't have. So yeah, anyway, let's see here. I think I'm gonna probably finish. I'm gonna change the wheel out, finish up this little finger choil on here, and then we'll see where we get. What time is it? It's 5 o'clock, so I got to go here soon, actually, but we'll hang out for a few more minutes. Yes, you can. A Mr. Pump is pretty cheap. Yeah, so that, I like that idea too. Can you make it grind wet? That is great. And I have looked into that, because doing stuff like this, where you're trying to make a knife out of a file that's already heat treated, you know, theoretically, this thing is good to go. You may want to check it with an HRC testing file if you're really concerned about the hardness. But typically files, most of them anyway, are through hardened files, unless they're cheap ones, like newer cheap ones. Some of those are case hardened. But if you can find an old file that's already, used and abused, typically they're already hardened. And most of the grain tests that I've done on files have turned out really good, just because they're done professionally. And most of the time, for something like this, you really just need to temper it a little bit, or don't temper it at all, because I think in most cases, files, metal files anyway, can be anywhere in between like 57 and 60, maybe 61, something like that. I guess it just depends on the brand and what type of file, but their hardness level is already up there for making a knife out of. And so the reason you would want to keep it wet or get a misting system is because if we're in here and we're creating a ton of friction on the belt grinder, and this heat travels up into this portion, then technically we could overheat this and lose the hardness that's already put into it. So that would be one reason to get a misting system. Another thing that a lot of people do, including myself, is just get a bucket of water and grind a little bit and dunk it. Grind and dunk. And then that way you can just cool it down as you're shaping it. I'm probably going to throw on a smaller wheel for this front part here. Let's go ahead and do that real fast. Yeah, this small wheel attachment is definitely awesome. The tolerance here is just perfect. The area where you put these different sizes in here, I mean, you got to get it in here just right, and it barely goes in, and you got to, really pull it out. So Brian and the team at Housemade do an excellent job of just making everything super precise on these, and they are wicked cool. Let's see. I think I have my other wheels in the storage bucket outside here. Let me look and see. I don't think they're back here anyway. They might be. Maybe not. How about this? How about I give you a shot of my shelf? You guys can play a game of Where's Waldo, and I'll go look for the other wheels. Let me move this piece of wood out of the way, and there we go. Now, the first person to find the black screwdriver with a little bit of yellow in it wins. And I'll be right back. All right, well, I still can't find them. I don't know what the heck I did with the wheels. That's one bad thing about being in a lawnmower shed is, you are limited on space. And when you have as much crap in here as I do, it really becomes quite the problem sometimes to just try to find one simple stinking thing. Yeah. Perhaps I put them over here. Aha, here they are. Score. All right. Okay, we got a winner. Newt said he found the screwdriver with the black and yellow. It is right there. Newt is the winner. Let's go. We like to keep it entertaining here at Frenchie's Forge, whether I'm looking for parts and away from the camera or not. That's what we likes to do. We got 6 people in here. Oh, 18 people in here. If you are just new in here, why don't you say hey in the comments? Tell us what you're up to today. And yeah, just say hey. We're here in the lawnmower shed hanging out. Stay a while, hang with us. We're doing all kinds of stuff like playing Where's Waldo with the screwdriver. We're actually trying to make some knives as well. And we're just kind of goofing off. So also, too, if you're new to the channel or you're just scrolling through trying to find something to watch, do me a solid, hit the subscribe button, and that way you'll be helping me out. And what's cool about hitting the subscribe button is you don't even have to come back and watch any videos. Just do me the favor, hit the subscribe, and it helps me. And then you don't even have to come and watch me play Where's Waldo in my lawnmower shed in the future if you don't want to. That's the beauty of it. So do that for me. That would be super kind and awesome. And if you're new in here, say hello. Tell us what you're up to. Tell us your name so we can say hey to you. All right, I'm going to put this small wheel back on here, and we'll get back to work. There we go. Yeah, so I don't know what size wheel I want to do. A lot of times when I'm trying to find out what size wheel I want to do, I'll just take the wheel and hold it up to the workpiece and see if we can find the right radius. This one's a little small, so we'll probably go with this. I believe this one is 3/4 inch. Let's try that one. It definitely isn't too big, so that's good. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about with this, though. You got to really push to seat these things, but then once they're in, they ain't going anywhere, which is awesome. And we'll throw this belt back on and get back at it. Probably give it a little bit more on the arm just because it's a smaller wheel, so probably want to move it out a little bit. Somewhere in there ought to work. And with each wheel, typically you don't have to adjust it much. You might a little tiny bit. Let's see what this one does. Yeah, that's pretty well centered for the most part. I like to slowly work up to the speed just in case, because sometimes it could be the belt just not wanting to cooperate, or you might not have enough tension on the arm. It could be a lot of different things. But if we slowly work up to it, we know we won't get slapped in the face with a belt. I think that's looking pretty good. All right. There we go. So yeah, we got this little bit up front to clean up still. And then I think it'll be feeling pretty decent after that. We might take a little bit more out of this section. But we'll just kind of see how it goes. Yeah, that really didn't take too long, and now we got that sucker cleaned up pretty good. And for the most part, that's pretty decent. Feels all right. Feel like the hump might be a little far forward, so we might take a little bit more out of this. But for me, you know, that's kind of how I do it. I wish I was better and could stick to a game plan, but I get like the general idea going, and then I just kind of put it in my hand and feel it out and just sort of, you know, fine tune it as I go until it feels good. So we'll do a little bit more here, and then I'm going to probably wrap it up. My phone's at 4%. So if I lose you, it's because I lost battery. Hopefully we'll wrap it up before then. Yeah, that's definitely better. A little more subtle, and it's right where it needs to be. So, yeah, I like that. All right, so that's pretty much a wrap, I think. And I really appreciate you guys hanging out. We had quite a few people in here. I really appreciate the guys that are in here that said hey. It's really good to talk to both of you, Michael, Newt. We talked to Duck earlier. We had another guy named John, another guy named Maxzilla, who also makes knives in his lawnmower shed. Really appreciate all you guys coming on, saying hey, and we will do it again soon, hopefully. I don't do lives a ton, but I do like to do them from time to time, especially when I'm not filming for my regular videos. And, you know, I periodically will have time to do that. Like today, for instance, I'm not really filming anything. I'm just kind of running through some of the different knives that I make and thought, you know what, I'm going to do a live. So anyway, yeah, we made some pretty decent progress on these. We got these ones profiled out for the most part. There's still a little bit to do on this one. These two are looking a lot closer to being blades, and hopefully we'll have these turned into blades here soon. And also made some progress on this little bowl cutter. And I will most likely end up making a super quick video to show all of these knives. I won't show the whole process of making them all, but I'll probably end up doing some relatively short clips to give the general idea of how they were made. And then that way you guys can see the finished products when they're all done. I've got 6 of them to do, and that's a lot for me. Typically, something like this might take me a week or two. And again, that's because I don't do it full time. I just do it as a hobby. So I just do it when I can find time. But once I do go through all of these and get them finished, I'll be putting out a video. That way you can come back, check it out, and you can see what they look like finished up. So yeah, really appreciate you guys hanging out. Thanks again. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day weekend. And we'll catch you again, hopefully, here soon on Frenchie's Forge. Thanks for hanging.